I want to talk to you about GreenGeeks, and of course, we'll be speaking about web hosting. So the question is the GreenGeeks really worth it for you? And so here's a synopsis I want you to pay attention to. So when you think about GreenGeeks, I want you to think about a platform, a provider, if you will, that stands out for its shared hosting, which, despite its low starter prices, has enough features and speed for many home and business users. So this is kind of cool. And a relatively basic VPS and dedicated hosting mean GreenGeeks is not the best choice for the most demanding sites, but it's well worth considering for everything else, especially if you're looking for an eco-friendly provider. So we love that a lot. So GreenGeeks actually is an American web hosting provider. They have about 50 to 100,000 customers. They manage about 600,000 websites, and they've been around for 15 to 16 years. So this is kind of cool. And they've been doing green hosting for the last 15 years. Kudos to them. I mean, this is really good. And what we love about GreenGeeks is that they have a constellation of updates all the time. So they're constantly improving their service. We love that. Now, in this crowded web hosting industry, it's really no fit to stand out. But GreenGeeks actually seems to be doing pretty well in terms of their offer, in terms of their customer service, and in terms of their business model. So this is kind of cool. And much of this is simply because the provider is one of the more eco-friendly hosting solutions and a maximum use and no waste of resources company. Think about it that way. So we love that a lot. And so, of course, you have other players in the industry. GreenGeeks is not the only one. I'll speak about the rivals later on, but I just want to let you know that when we talk about GreenGeeks, of course, it's a pretty decent sort of provider, but you also have other players. For instance, you have Hostinger, you have Bluehost, you have DreamHost. So when you think about now, those three players may not necessarily be eco-friendly, quote unquote eco-friendly, but they also are adding a lot of value to your operations. They can add a lot of value to your web hosting operations. And one thing I want to say here is that when we talk about GreenGeeks, I want you to think about sustainability, and I want you to also think about scalability. In other words, don't think simply because they are eco-friendly, they cannot help you scale your operations. They are really good. They can help you do a lot of things, including scalability. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. I want to talk to you about the pros and cons of GreenGeeks. Let's really go a little deeper here. So let's first talk about the pros. So you have impressive green hosting credentials. And you have a feature-packed suite of shared hosting plans. You have low starter prices, data centers in the US, Canada, Europe, and Singapore. So this is kind of cool. And here is a provider that uses quality industry standard tools, including cPanel and Softaculous. What about the cons here? You do have above average long-term prices once the introductory deals expire. So this is something to really watch out for. I mean, they probably will just bump up, like in some cases, 2x or 3x the prices from where they were at the beginning. You have basic WordPress and e-commerce plans. You have underpowered VPS and dedicated hosting plans. This is important. And you also have dedicated servers that are relatively expensive. So if you are interested in dedicated servers through GreenGeeks, you might have to pay a little more. So this is one thing you have to really pay attention to. So think about, you also have a free website transfer service. So we love that. So if you are switching to GreenGeeks from another hosting provider, GreenGeeks will handle the entire process for you at no cost. You have 300% to 400% renewable energy match. So GreenGeeks lives up to its name by restoring 3 times to 4 times the amount of energy it consumes. So your website will be carbon reducing. And you also have a 98%. You do not have 99.9% uptime guarantee, 98%. So this is well above many top hosts and amounts just about 1 hour and 45 minutes of downtime per year. So it's one thing you have to really think about what really is important for you. Okay. One thing we love about GreenGeeks overall is that you have multiple hosting options. We're speaking about WordPress hosting. We're speaking about WooCommerce hosting, reseller web hosting, and also VPS. So you have a virtual private servers there. You have reliable uptime performance. You have great customer service. We're talking about 24/7 live chat, email, And you also have phone for from 9 a.m. through midnight Eastern. So this is kind of cool. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about GreenGeeks, and it's one of those things where I want to talk to you about what this what this provider is all about. I want to talk to you about the prices that you have. I want you to look right now on the screen. Here is the prices for GreenGeeks as of the date of this show. So you do have the cheapest shared plan, as you can see on the screen. That's called the light plan. It will start you at $2.95 a month, and its priciest VPS plan will cost you about $109.95 a month. So within that range, there is a best fit plan for every budget, and it's one of those things where you have to see what really works for you. And what we love about GreenGeeks is that it's really adapting its services to your operations. So you have the shared, the WordPress, the VPS, and the reseller. They also have a reseller hosting, so this is really cool. And but the thing is that you have to be aware that the starting prices are relatively interesting. Yet you might have to pay a little more upon renewal. So just expect a big surprise upon renewal. And but they're not the only one playing that game though. A lot of companies in this industry, they play that game all the time. So it's one of those things where you got to ask yourself again, what are you looking for? Now, in terms of GreenGeeks pricing versus competitor pricing, you will see, for instance, that GreenGeeks is charging you $295 per month for shared. Bluehost is charging you the same amount, but HostGator is charging you way more. HostGator is charging you $395, so you can see the delta there. And for VPS, for instance, GreenGeeks is charging you $39.95 per month, whereas Bluehost is charging you $23.99 per month. So you can see that in this case, Bluehost is a little cheaper. And when we talk about HostGator, you're also talking about $23.95. So long story short, when it comes to pricing, GreenGeeks is not the cheapest around there. I mean, obviously, this whole conversation about eco-friendliness does have a price. So if you want to support this sort of eco-friendly business model, then you might just expect to pay a little more, okay? And one thing I want to say here is that it's one of those things where you have to see whether or not you want to support like a business model versus looking at the constellation of services they offer. Let me talk to you about the features here. So when we talk about GreenGeeks, what kind of features can you expect? First of all, let's talk about the types of hosting that GreenGeeks offer. They offer as a whole. So you have a low-cost shared hosting, which is ideal for personal users and simple business websites. You also have WordPress and WooCommerce hosting. This allows you to build anything from a personal blog to a small web store. You also have VPS, so virtual private server. So VPS hosting is a powerful technology that gives you your site access to more CPU, RAM, and other system resources. It's really a smart choice for large or high traffic websites where top speeds are vital and downtime could be a disaster. And GreenGeeks also offers a dedicated server hosting where your server gets an entire site all to itself for the maximum performance. So this is kind of cool. So let's first talk about shared hosting. So basically, the shared hosting is kind of cool because with GreenGeeks, you are basically your sites is sharing the server's CPU, RAM, network connection, and more. But this could reduce speeds. But listen, if you have a small website and you don't care about the speed, then it doesn't really matter. Okay, it doesn't really matter. You can just be on GreenGeeks shared hosting, not a problem. Or you can just maybe move within that shared hosting. You can move from the basic plan all the way to the premium plan. There's also a possibility to sort of access more functionalities. And what about GreenGeeks WordPress hosting? Now, it's one of those things where you have to see if you want to go with GreenGeeks. I mean, we love the fact that the GreenGeeks has really put a lot of transparency when it comes to their WordPress hosting capabilities. So you have the same names, the same prices. You have the basic, the standard, and the premium. But everything depends on the speed here, the optimization. So if you, the cool thing is that you have the light speed, you have the LS cache plugin if you want to optimize the speed even further. Now, the malware pledge is unusual for a budget hosting plan, but otherwise there are no real surprises here. So we love that. And you also have GreenGeeks VPS hosting. This is another possibility to really think about. And also you have a GreenGeeks dedicated hosting. So you can opt for a dedicated hosting and you get a web server for your site alone. That means no more sharing resources with others, no unexpected slowdowns because a neighboring site is suddenly busy. You just get the best speeds your hardware can manage all the time. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about GreenGeeks. This is a GreenGeeks web hosting review. I want to talk to you about the value added here. So when we think about GreenGeeks, what kind of value added, what kind of value does this provider add to your operations? First of all, they add value by giving you the ability to build a website. So you do have a website builder. So GreenGeeks shared hosting packages include a free version of Weebly Site Builder. At least that's the idea. It's not installed by default, and it's one of those things you have to integrate. But if you raise a support ticket, GreenGeeks will activate the free version for you. And Weebly works much like many other website builders. You just choose a starting website design from a selection of around 100, then customize basics like colors and fonts if you like, or just drag and drop blocks of content onto the page. So we are speaking here about text, photos, forms, maps, and more. And then add your own text and photos, just as you would in any other editor. So this is very easy to use and has a few more features than we would expect for a free tool. There is no limit on the number of pages your site can have. For instance, you can even create a tiny web store for up to 5 products. This is what it is. So Weebly Free is a fun app and it could be perfect for, say, allowing your kids to build their own personal sites. But the basic templates, limited features, and Weebly add on each page footer meaning that this is not something that we would recommend for serious use. And although you can pay to upgrade, Weebly is not the best website builder around. And you can actually think about other players on the market. And for instance, HostGator's website builder is actually better in our view. Same thing for Bluehost or even DreamHost. So something to really think about. And can you build a web store with GreenGeeks? Yes. GreenGeeks has a WooCommerce hosting range, which is very capable of building top quality web store. And so this is kind of cool. And as with GreenGeeks WordPress range though, this is really just a shared hosting range underneath with the same names, features, and prices. So this is something to think about. GreenGeeks is really easy to use. We love the fact that the UX and UI have been thought about. So this is thoroughly fantastic. I want to talk to you about speed here. So when we think about GreenGeeks, what kind of speed can you expect? Well, it's one of those things where GreenGeeks is very fast. It's very fast. It doesn't matter the web hosting, the web hosting category that you have, whether you have shared hosting, whether you have cloud, whether you have VPS, whether you have a WordPress, or whether you have a dedicated server. You have a really top speed. You have a top speeds. One thing we love about GreenGeeks is also that they are constantly updating their uptime capability. I mean, they went from 98% to 98.5% to 99% to 99.1%. So this is really good. And GreenGeeks offers a 24/7 support via live chat, tickets, telephone, and a website knowledge base. So if you are more into a DIY sort of customer service type, just go to the knowledge base and the FAQ. You will see a lot of stuff there. Now, the support site is not very well organized, and it can be difficult to find the content you need. Fortunately, there are some useful all-in-one tutorials. For example, the Getting Started with GreenGeeks guides. This guide will actually link to articles on registering and setting up domains and DNS, creating email accounts, building your websites, and managing your bills and accounts. So this is kind of cool. and that's good to know, and will point you to the right. It will point you in the right direction. But these articles are often short and may not include all the information you need. So, if the knowledge base leaves you confused, then you can always contact their support team, and they were really fast. They were really supportive. This is really cool. And live chat responses were quick when we tested it. They are quick and helpful, and even opting for ticket support didn't actually take long before we got the solution. So you have the ability to reach out to customer service and get your questions answered real fast. So this is kind of cool. So we love the responsiveness here. So the fact that they are really fast in terms of getting back to you, this is really good. I mean, 15 to 15 minutes to 45 minutes, in some cases 60 minutes. That's really good in terms of reliability, in terms of responsiveness. It's just fantastic. So what is the verdict here? I mean, should we do we recommend GreenGeeks? Yes, we definitely recommend GreenGeeks. We definitely we think GreenGeeks is legit. GreenGeeks is safe. GreenGeeks is worth the money, especially if you want to support an eco-friendly cause. This is basically the platform, one of the platforms to really think about. And GreenGeeks has excellent sharing. They have excellent shared hosting with the features and speed to handle the most personal and many small and medium-sized businesses, and the sites of those businesses. It's kind of weak on WordPress and e-commerce, and the VPS and dedicated hosting plans don't have the power for the most demanding sites. But there are still plenty of features to like here, and of course, helping to save the planet is pretty important too. So again, that's what I said earlier. If you really want to support the cause, then you really can go for it. So the GreenGeeks accept payments via credit card only. So this is kind of cool. They do have a refund policy. So they have a simple 30-day money-back guarantee for all its main hosting products, regardless of the length of subscription. So unlike some providers, there is a no 30 days for this hosting product range, 15 days for that. Something else again for monthly plans. Okay, no, it's 30 days and that's that. I mean, if you were to compare and contrast, GoDaddy, for instance, only gives you 48 hours for subscriptions of less than a year. So this is a really sort of a little more, at least on GreenGeeks side, things are more transparent. And there are some restrictions for add-on products. You won't get your domain registration or SSL certificate fees back, for instance, but that's common to most hosts, and it's one of those things. And more significantly, renewal fees are not included. So it's one of those things where you have to see what works for you. And at GreenGeeks, the small print warns you you must cancel your account at least 5 days before the renewal date to ensure the billing date can stop any renewal charges. And if you forget and you are charged, you have no right to a refund. So be aware of that. And if you are looking for let's say a host with an uptime guarantee, you will love GreenGeeks because they do have the guarantee. This is really fantastic. We love that a lot. And we love the fact that they are constantly sort of upping their game too, to sort of bring things to another level. So it's just fantastic. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. Let me quickly recap to this conversation. So I was talking to you about GreenGeeks. So I gave you like the synopsis, the pros and cons, the prices, the features, the value added, and the verdict. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.